The KRGS Doors Show, proudly brought to you by KRGS Doors. For all your shopfront roller shutters, roller grills, folding closures and bifold doors, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au. Welcome to the KRGS Doors podcast. I'm your host, Drew Blackman. The aim of our podcast is to talk to cool people with cool stories, whether it be our suppliers, customers, staff, other business owners, or people from different walks of life, and get to know them a bit better. If you're interested in coming on, drop us a line or email, or connect with us via Facebook, and we can have a chat to see what we can do. Today on the podcast, I'm joined by KRGS Doors Managing Director Clayton Blackman, and we chat to Raecene McGregor, current Premiership Winning player with the Brisbane Broncos Women's Rugby League and New Zealand International. Rae has also represented Australia in soccer and at the Summer Youth Olympics and Commonwealth Games in Rugby Union, where she won gold. And believe it or not, she is only 23 years old. Please welcome to the podcast, Miss Raecene McGregor. Welcome to the podcast, Rae. How you been?
Yeah, really good actually. Well, not so good in this pandemic, not being able to do too much, but other than that, I've been having a good time. Just got to move, so that's been awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What is the Raecene McGregor story?
Well, really, I guess it starts a long time ago when I first started playing soccer. I never really thought I'd play rugby league right now, but yeah, when I started playing soccer, and I guess I progressed through there, New South Wales, to play for Australia. Luckily enough, when I was 14, I went to Vietnam, played in Ho Chi Minh City, scored the first goal for Australia, so that was really awesome. That was cool. And then from there, I guess I started playing a little bit of touch, and my touch coach was actually a rugby sevens coach, and he got me and my sister to come along to just one training one day. It was really hard to get us along actually, because we've seen 15s and we just weren't interested. So, yeah, our parents just said, just give it a go. You know, you're sporty, just give it a go. So we did, and we really liked it because it was kind of light touch, just with a little bit of contact. I was like, so that was awesome. Way back then, I was so much fitter than I guess what I am now. I wouldn't want to be playing rugby sevens anymore like my sister. But yeah, and then from there, I guess just pretty much we played a little bit of league in school, and then when I finished school, I still played a little bit of sevens. I was lucky enough to represent Australia at the Youth Olympics and then Youth Commonwealth Games. Won both gold there, so that was awesome. So I got to do a little bit of travelling with that. That was probably the highlight, to be able to travel to different places around the world for sevens. I was like, that's probably the thing that I miss the most, is to be able to do the travel. Transferring into rugby league, I think that's where I found the sort of play that I guess that I am, that it's more suited to my ability. I think it's not as fast. I get more time. The game doesn't end so quickly, which I much prefer. So I guess that's what made me really stay in rugby league. And then one day I had a coach come down to one of my games and said that if, New Zealand opened up to Aussie-based Kiwis, would I want to pursue that? And I said, yeah, well, I mean, if that was an opportunity that I could go down, then that's definitely something that I would be willing to look at. So that was awesome to hear that. And then a couple of years later, actually, they did open that up, and that's when I got to play in the World Cup for New Zealand in 2017. So that was awesome, and unfortunately we didn't win that, but getting runners-up was just an awesome achievement, to be able to do that at such a young age, to represent my parents' country for the first time, which it was a massive honour. Like, to be able to pull on that jersey was incredible. So yeah, so it's been a long road to where I am today, but it's been a really good journey.
So Rae, you mentioned a few sports there that you've participated in, and I know you have excelled in all of them that you've put yourself to. So you mentioned soccer, touch, rugby league, rugby union. Out of all those four, which one do you prefer?
Oh, I would definitely have to say I prefer rugby league.
Yeah.
It just suits the way I play. I do miss touch though, not so much not being able to play it, but I guess league is, now that I'm at a level that it's kind of taking up a lot of my time, and I had to pick a sport, which I knew one day that I would have to do. So obviously that's league, but yeah, I do miss touch as well, just the fitness side of it as well, and just the tournaments probably would be the things that I miss the most, is going away with your mates and playing in teams like that.
Yeah, I guess that's where you and I go back a long way, Rae, and that's where we first crossed paths back in the days of Liverpool Touch, where I was able to I was able to coach you. My oldest daughter Madison and yourself were teammates, and we got to I got to see you grow as a player from 14 onward, and got to coach you at representative level as at touch, and also there at Liverpool. And we won a Vorden Cup there one time, which was very, very exciting. I think we had, in that team of 14 players, I think there was 8 teenagers in that side that won a New South Wales Vorden Cup in a dramatic finish, drop off 4 on 4.
Yes, drop off. Yes, I won't forget that game. I remember
it's one of my coaching highlights, I must say. I often think about that when we did win it. So it was fantastic. Yeah. But yeah, it's just seeing you excel in all your sports, because I know you and Paige, your younger sister, really love the soccer. Really involved in the soccer, and mate, at least with touch, once your rugby league career is over, because you've only got a certain window, you've always got touch to come back to. So I guess that's the exciting thing for you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do see myself when I do finish playing rugby league, I'll definitely come back to touch. It's something that I do more so enjoy than, I guess, soccer. I do like playing. I prefer the ball in my hands than at my feet, that's for sure. So I could definitely see myself coming back playing touch when I'm finished playing league.
Has rugby league put any conditions on you not being able to play touch football? Have they said, hey, at the moment, no, you can't, or it's just a matter of time?
No, there's no restrictions on anything like that. It's just timings, I guess. Like, there's a lot of things that, I guess when the state cups are on, there's always a test match or leading into another game. So it's kind of hard to say to a team that I can give my 100% commitment, which I can't. So it's really hard. I don't see it being, I guess, fair that I should be able to miss some trainings and stuff. So I guess when I can give my 100% commitment there, then I'll take it back up.
Just going back, Ray, or you mentioned that you represented Australia in soccer at 14 and went over to China. What was that like as a 14-year-old travelling the world and being able to play soccer?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy actually. It came quite out of the blue. Like, I was just playing park soccer, and then next thing I knew, I was about to represent Australia in a little mini World Cup for under 18. So that was insane to be able to go over to Vietnam at that age. I was it was awesome. My mum came, and so did my auntie. So that was pretty cool for them to be there to witness that as well. But yeah, it was just definitely a different experience. I've never been on a flight that long, so I was I don't know how I'm going to go with too many flights like that. I hate flying.
And then following on that, to represent Australia at the Olympics and Commonwealth Games in Rugby Union, did you take a lot of that experience from soccer into Rugby Union as well?
Yeah, I do think that soccer did definitely help me in Rugby Union in the kicking side of things. For me, kicking was something that I guess I relied on. So having that background was awesome, because there was so much space on the field, to kick not just for myself but for someone else as well. So that was really good to have. That was handy to have that. But just being able to represent Australia in another sport was just another massive achievement for me at such a young age. And to win gold was, I guess, a memory that I'll never forget.
Ray, you mentioned we spoke about your sister Paige there before, and Paige is successful in her rugby union. She plays sevens and so forth for Australia. She's represented the country on a number of occasions now, and she's still only young. Paige is still only, how old would Paige be?
She just turned 21 this year.
21, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's a great effort. Do you think she will stay with rugby union, or you'd like to see she had an opportunity to come over to? I know she's played a little bit of rugby league. Do you reckon you'll have an opportunity to play alongside each other in league at some stage?
Yeah, I definitely think that we'll be able to play together again, especially since she is so young. She's got so many more years ahead of her, and I think that she will stay in the sevens for a little bit longer. I mean, as long as they want her, I think she'll stay. I mean, why wouldn't she? She gets to travel the world for free and do something that she loves.
Yeah, and she's
so,
good at it.
I mean, I think she will stay there for a little bit longer. But yeah, I definitely can see her coming back to league, after sevens, and hopefully getting to have one last jam before, I retire.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be good.
You mentioned then you got the opportunity to be able to represent your parents' country. What was it like for the first time pulling on that New Zealand jumper?
The first time I actually put it on was in a trial match against the Māori team in New Zealand at Hamilton Stadium, and just for that time for me to put that on, it was just it was overwhelming. It was hard to explain because it was my first time putting it on, but I knew that it was just a trial game, and I knew that I didn't have my family there. So I think that time wasn't as special as when I actually got to, I guess, debut in the World Cup against Cook Islands when I first pulled on that jersey in front of all my family and friends. Like that's probably one of the most, I guess, special moments that I hold really close to my heart out of everything that I have done in my life. It was something that wasn't just for me, but it was for my parents as well, and just to see how happy they were for me to be able to do that as well was really awesome, because I guess, I wouldn't be where I am today without them. They've definitely done a lot for me and my sister, all the trainings when we were younger. There was a lot of travelling that they had to do, so I'm very grateful for what they've done for not just for me but for my sister as well.
Yeah, I must say, Ray, I know Mum and Dad quite well for a number of years, and they've always been so supportive of,
Yeah, definitely.
of you and your Paige, wherever it's been, whether it's trainings, Dad's driving to training or Mum's driving to training or vice versa, and they've just been always, whatever sport that you've been involved with, whether it's soccer, touch, rugby league, rugby union, they're always on the sideline and always supporting their two daughters.
Yeah, they definitely are. They've been there from the beginning, so credit goes to them as well.
Absolutely.
You're still only relatively young. Who do you look up to as a player?
I guess I've always looked up to Billy Slater. Growing up, I've supported Melbourne since the get-go, so I've always looked up to him. Just the type of player that he is, not just on the field but off the field, never in the media, always, being the responsible role model that, a rugby league person should be. I just thought, just the way he plays on the field, I've always just thought if I could ever be someone, I'd definitely want to be him.
You and him are both very exciting to watch.
Yeah, well, he's definitely exciting. If I could have some of his ability, I'd be really happy.
And how does it make you feel? So as a young girl growing up, you looked up to Billy Slater. Now there's young girls that want to be Raecene McGregor when they play. How's that make you feel?
I know, it's so crazy because I never thought ever that there would be people, looking up to me. So, to have that, it's awesome. I really like it. I always make sure that I will carry myself that well so people can look up to someone like me. I wouldn't want to, do the wrong thing and have people think that it's okay. So I guess being in a limelight, you have to make sure that you're doing the right thing. But it's awesome to have young girls look up to me because one day, like I said, they're gonna have young girls looking up to them as well.
Now you're contracted, or you've played for Brisbane Broncos in the Women's Rugby League. How's that contract work? We know it's only a short season. Is it for the full 12 months that you're contracted to them, or is it only for the period of time while the games are on?
Yeah, it's only for the period of time. So the contract is usually, it starts, so if you go so last year we started in August, so it starts from the 1st of August to the 31st of October. So this year it would have been the 1st of July to the 31st of October. It just goes, I don't know why it goes to the end of the 31st of October, but that's when the contract finishes. So it starts when we're allowed to train as a team together properly. We move, people from interstate or wherever, if they have to go, they will move into that time, and then we start training on the 1st.
You did a pre-season up there with them, Ray, at the Broncos. That's when it starts, 1st of August?
Yeah, so pretty much, yeah. So it's roughly around a month pre-season before the round one starts. So yeah, you only get contract for that period of time, just for say 2-3 months, and then after that, your contract's finished, and then you sign again the following year.
Another former rugby league player and current touch player who I coach currently, who's involved with you at the Broncos, is Scotty Prince.
Oh yeah, Scotty, yeah, he's so cool. He's so cool.
He goes pretty good there. He helps out and so forth. He's fantastic off the field. He's an absolute gentleman to deal with. And how's he going with you up there?
Yeah, no, he's really good actually. I didn't actually get to meet him through the NRLW because we had Corey Parker as our trainer.
Yes.
So, but for the nines that I just recently played, we had Princey as our blue shirt. So that was really cool because that was the first time I met him, and he's funny. He's really funny, really real jokester.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good man.
Yeah. He can definitely lighten the mood, that's for sure.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the podcast. We have a word from our sponsor. KRGS Doors Fold Enclosure allows you to have a security concertina door in any shape or any length. Having no floor track eliminates any trip hazard. Custom made in 150mm or 300mm wide panel, these concertina doors allow your shopfront to become an illusion. The KRGS fold enclosure can be filled with your choice of clear infill, vision mesh, or a combination, along with powder coating to meet your requirements. For more information, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au or call 1800 897 822. Now back to the podcast.
As I said, you played for Brisbane and they are actually premiers last year. What was that like coming together to win the comp?
Oh, that was another awesome experience too. Like to be able to play in grand final day, that was, I guess, a dream come true because I never thought it would ever be possible to be able to play before the men, I guess. I've been to a lot of grand finals and to be there to watch has been awesome. But to be able to play in it was just another level. Like for us, after we won, just to do the lap of honour, like how many people were screaming out to us to have photos. Like it was just really awesome to see how many people got behind the women's game as well, how many people were actually there to support the game. It was awesome.
And with that, do you find it difficult, and you mentioned, and I might be doubling back here, that do you find it difficult where you've only got a month to come together beforehand and then you've only got 4 or 5 games and then a grand final to get the team together and your key position being in the halves, steering the team around to have that type of success?
Yeah, it's a little bit challenging, the short period of time that you have to work together. But in saying that, I guess it was much easier at the Broncos because we travelled each game. So I feel like when you travel as a team, you're closer, you're always together. So I guess you get to bond a little bit better than, I guess, say if you're individually, everyone's at home. So when we were travelling, we did a lot of activities together and I stayed with my second row every time that we travelled. So I really got to know her. So we built a really good connection between us. So I felt like when I was playing, I knew that no matter what, she'd always have my back. So I felt like that made it a lot easier last year coming into playing for the Broncos. But yes, it's definitely challenging, having a short period of time to get everything perfect and then have 3 games and then maybe a grand final. If not, you just play 3 games.
Ray, in 2019 you were with the Broncos and obviously 2020 you were contracted for the Broncos this year, but before the virus. So 2018 you played with the Mighty Dragons. What took you away from Saints up to the Broncos?
I had a really good time at the Dragons. I did. I really enjoyed myself. I did get along with the coach really well, Daniel Lacey. He was a really good guy. I guess what took me away was I just wanted a change, a little bit of a change. I don't think I played my best footy in 2018 for the Dragons. I was a little bit disappointed in the way that I guess my season went with them. So I felt like I needed a change, something to push me a bit, something I guess out of my comfort zone. And for me to move to another state was a pretty big thing for me. Just I know it was only 2 months, but to move away from my family and everything because I'm pretty close with them, that was a little bit of a challenge for me. So I thought, if I can do that and overcome that and get to know some new people, I feel like it might help my game a bit, and I felt like it definitely did. So I guess that's what pushed me the most to go there. And I did know the coach from the Broncos as well. He coached me 1 year at Kiwi, so I had a pretty good connection with him, so I really got along with him, so that helped the decision as well.
Obviously with the virus now for 2020, the competition's sort of been thrown around a little bit and we don't know whether we're going to get back or not. Has there been any talk for 2021? What's Raecene happy to stay at the Broncos for 2021?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy to stay at the Broncos for 2021. I really enjoyed my time there. It's a really good club. They're a really family-orientated club, so they made me feel really welcome there, not just the players but all the staff as well. So, if they want me back in 2021, I'll be definitely happy to play for them again.
How much involvement do you have with training and playing against and that type of thing with the guys, the Broncos up there? Is there an opportunity to be able to have training and playing against them in sessions?
Yeah, so we don't really get too many sessions with the top squad. There's you might have the odd guy that might come down to a training session, give the girls a hand, but we did have a couple of hit-outs against some of the younger boys at training, but it was pretty separated actually. They do their training, we do our training. I guess we all have our own things to focus on, but if we ever needed a little team run or anything, the boys would be down there to give us a hand.
It's probably a good opportunity too, because there's a player there at the Broncos, Ali Brigginshaw, who they say is probably the Jonathan Thurston of the women's rugby league. What was it like to learn from someone like that?
Yeah, she's really cool. I really like Ali. She's awesome. Yeah, it was awesome to learn from her. I've always looked up to her. She's definitely a great player. Yeah, it was awesome to play beside her. She's a really nice person. It was a little bit daunting actually because I had never met her before, so like she scared me a little bit. But when I met her, she was actually really nice, so that made me a little bit more calm. But yeah, just to learn off her, she's really good. She's a good communicator too. So I mean, and I felt like we worked well together because I don't feel like she ever tried to overplay me, and I never tried to overplay her. I feel like we complement each other really well. But overall, yeah, she's really cool.
And then when you're playing internationally, you're up against her.
Yeah, I know. That was what I said. I was like, usually I don't mind playing against her, but for the first time it was a little bit weird because we had built a friendship. So yeah, that was different. But yeah, that's why I said I was like, no friends in the field, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And well, just on that international, you were lucky enough to play in the Nines tournament. I believe it was last year where you represented New Zealand, and I think New Zealand won that, and also you were named player of the tournament.
Yeah, that was awesome. You know, we haven't beat Australia. Well, I haven't beaten Australia ever since I've been playing. So, you know, I did not think that we'd be winning the Nines, that's for sure. But when we did, wow, like, I'm sure if you guys watch the game, you'll see how hard we celebrated. Like, we were really excited because it's been a long time coming, that's for sure. So to get that win was, you know, awesome. You couldn't wipe the smile off our faces. And to be named, player of the tournament, that was just so awesome. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you know, wow. I was like, all my hard work is, you know, paying off. So that was really cool.
Now, also, too, we've mentioned your sister Paige, who is quite sporty and she represents Australia in rugby sevens. And I know at home the walls are plastered with photos and rep teams that you've both been in. What was rivalry like growing up?
Yeah, our house is, if you see our house, you would be like, what the hell? Seriously, there's that many photos. Like on every single wall. I have every photo, like my parents have put every single team photo up from when we first started at North Bankstown, when I first started playing soccer, to the last game that we played. It's pretty crazy how many photos are there. But yeah, between me and my sister, I don't think there was too much rivalry actually. Like we were pretty good. I don't think we ever fought about things. I think I don't reckon we went at each other too much playing sport, but you know, it was always good to play with her because I felt like we could just like literally read each other's minds, especially when we used to play touch together. I swear to God, some of the things like that we would do, it's just like crazy, not even normal. I was like, yeah, just good to play with her. That I knew that I could do something and she'd be there, and I didn't even have to say it.
At touch football, you'd always see Rae and Paige. They always had a footy in their hands, you know, and they're always doing different drills. And Paige is very, very competitive. Very competitive, and they're always throwing the ball at each other or playing alongside. But I guess the McGregor sisters, watching, you sort of look at and you go back, and this probably, you may remember these guys, the Ella brothers for Randwick, Rae.
Yeah.
There was the Ella brothers, and that's what I really see, because I got to coach both Rae and Paige and also play alongside you guys, actually.
Exactly, I know.
Like Rae just said, some of the things that her and Paige used to do on a touch field, you would have thought, like, there was no communication, but some of the magic things that they used to do was just, you just go back and, it's fantastic.
Does that come from instinct of being sisters, or does it come from hours and hours in the backyard?
Oh, I mean, it probably comes from a little bit of both. Like, yeah, we always were in the backyard practicing, trying to better ourselves and I guess each other as well. But I feel like, you know, she just, because we were so close, it was just like we just knew, like, you know, we could just see the same thing. So it was like just so much easier that because we were like looking at the same thing, that she was like, yep, I know what you're doing, done already. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we definitely did do a lot of practice.
To finish off the podcast, Rae, we always ask our guests fast 5 questions, and it's just a rapid fire just to get to know you a little bit better. So what would be your last meal?
Probably these hot and spicy noodles. They're my favourite. Like, I can't stop eating them.
Does the noodles, because they're easy, like 2-minute noodles, come back from just travelling? I just need something to eat, nice and easy.
No, not really. I like to cook these ones on the stove. They're like these Asian noodles. They're like mammy noodles. I don't know. My friend from primary school got me onto them. So ever since then, I've just always eaten them.
Excellent. And what about your drink of choice?
Probably apple juice.
Apple juice, okay.
Haven't had that one.
No, we haven't had that one before. Do you have any superstitions?
Not really. I don't think I do actually.
No. Have you got any superstitions, Chloe?
I always put my left shoe on, my left sock on. I think that's just habit, though. You know what I mean? I'm left-footed, but always put that on. No, I think that's about it. Yeah. Probably had a few more when I was playing footy, but
I don't know. I feel like I do sock shoe, but I feel like that's normal. Don't most people do that?
Probably right, mate.
Yeah.
What is your favourite movie?
I don't actually have a favourite movie, but I have a favourite series that I've been watching lately. It's called Lucifer. It's so good.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Oh, it's crazy. It's so good. I can't stop watching it.
Have to have a look at that one, Lucifer.
Yeah, it's good, I'm telling you.
You recommend it, eh?
Yeah, I recommend it, definitely.
And finally, if heaven does exist, what would God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Probably wrong way.
Turn around, go back, you think?
Yeah, probably.
Rae, much appreciate you coming on our podcast and telling us your story, even though it's such you're a young age, you've packed so much into it, and I've had the opportunity to see it from close, so it's fantastic you coming on and having a chat. Let's hope that your future is extremely bright, which I think it will be, and we might have an opportunity down the track to talk to Raecene again in a couple of years, possibly to talk about the next chapter in the Raecene McGregor rugby league life. But it's mate, it's been all the best to you and the family, and it's been great having a chat, and thanks for coming on. Rae's actually the first female that's come on to our KRGS Doors podcast. So, mate, you've a bit of history, but it's been great to come on and have a chat, Rae. Much appreciate.
Cool. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks very much, Rae. We'll catch up soon.
See ya.
Take care. Bye-bye.
That wraps up our chat with Raecene McGregor, a rugby league superstar, who hopefully will be back in action very shortly. If you have missed any previous episodes of the KRGS Doors podcast, you can download them from our website, www.krgsdoors.com.au/podcast, or on your favourite podcast player, search KRGS Doors. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to ensure you don't miss any future episodes. This also boosts our rankings and my ego. The other thing I suggest, if you have enjoyed the podcast, head to your favourite podcast player and leave a review or a rating. On our next episode, we speak to Josh Moss, who was a contestant on Series 1 of Love Island Australia. We talk all things reality television, his 273,000 Instagram followers, and how he puts up with the keyboard warriors. I've been your host, Drew Blackman, and you've been fantastic for tuning in today. As always, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Thanks. Till next time. The KRGS Doors Show, proudly brought to you by KRGS Doors. For all your shopfront roller shutters, roller grills, folding closures and bifold doors, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au.